I have been married to my husband Alex, 31M, for 3 years. We met at a tech startup where we both worked as software developers. The company was a small but growing firm, and I remember being impressed by Alex's dedication and innovative ideas during our first project together. Alex had a complicated childhood due to his father Richard, 54M, who was mostly absent during his growing years. Alex grew up in a modest apartment with his mother Maria, 52F, in Boston. Their life wasn't always difficult though. Before Richard left, they lived in a beautiful house in the suburbs, and Maria was a stay-at-home mom who loved gardening and cooking. Everything changed when Alex was 6. Richard, who worked as a sales manager at a car dealership, started staying out late and becoming increasingly distant. Maria later found out he was seeing someone from his workplace, a young receptionist who had just started working there. One day, Richard packed his bags and left, telling Maria he needed to find himself and that family life wasn't what he wanted. Maria, who hadn't worked since getting married, suddenly found herself alone with a 6-year-old son and a mortgage she couldn't afford. They had to sell their house and move to a small apartment in a less desirable neighborhood. Maria worked multiple jobs, as a waitress in the morning, a receptionist in the afternoon, and taking up cleaning jobs on weekends. This meant Alex spent most of his time alone or with his grandmother, Patricia, now deceased. Patricia was a remarkable woman who played a crucial role in Alex's life. She was a retired teacher who lived a few blocks away and would watch Alex after school. She taught him to read at an early age and sparked his interest in computers by buying him his first programming book when he was 12. Alex often says that his success today is largely due to his grandmother's influence and support. Richard would occasionally make appearances in Alex's life, usually around birthdays or holidays. He'd call with grand promises about visiting or sending special gifts, but these promises rarely materialized. The few times he did visit were awkward and tense. I remember Alex telling me about one particular visit when he was 14. Richard showed up in a fancy new car, took him to an expensive restaurant, and spent the entire time bragging about his new life in California, never once asking Alex about school or his interests. The only consistent thing about Richard was his inconsistency. He would disappear for months, sometimes years, then suddenly reappear with elaborate explanations and apologies. When Alex got into MIT on a scholarship, Richard didn't attend the graduation. He sent a text message 3 days later saying he had been caught up with work. Alex and I met 5 years ago at TechFront Solutions, where we both worked as software developers. I was immediately drawn to his quiet confidence and innovative thinking. Despite his difficult upbringing, Alex had a warmth about him that was impossible to ignore. We worked on several projects together before we started dating, and I got to witness firsthand his dedication and brilliant problem-solving skills. After 2 years at TechFront, Alex had an idea for a revolutionary project management software. He shared his vision with me, and I could see its potential. With our combined savings and some investment from my parents, we started our own company, DevStream. The first year was tough, working long hours, living on a tight budget, and dealing with all the challenges of a startup. But Alex's determination never wavered. DevStream started gaining traction in our second year. We developed a unique algorithm that set us apart from competitors, and clients started noticing. As word spread about our software, bigger companies began showing interest. We moved from our tiny home office to a proper office space and hired our first employees. This was when Richard suddenly reappeared in Alex's life. He showed up at our office unannounced, crying about how proud he was of Alex and how much he regretted not being there for him. He looked different from the photos Alex had shown me, older, less polished, with gray hair and worn-out clothes. He told us about his financial troubles. He had lost his job due to downsizing, was 3 months behind on rent, and his current wife Laura, 48F, needed expensive medical treatments for her diabetes. Alex, despite my reservations, decided to give Richard another chance. The timing should have been suspicious, Richard showing up right when Alex's company started making headlines in local business news. But Alex wanted to believe his father had changed. He started helping Richard financially, first with small amounts for rent and groceries, then larger sums for Laura's medical bills. Richard's requests kept escalating. He wanted money to start a food truck business, claiming it was his dream. Then he needed funds to repair his car. Each time, he had elaborate plans about paying Alex back once things turned around. I noticed how Richard would manipulate Alex, bringing up memories of when Alex was little, making Alex feel guilty about his success while his father struggled. The breaking point came last month when Richard asked Alex to invest $200,000 in a revolutionary business opportunity. He was vague about the details but promised incredible returns. When Alex asked for a business plan or any documentation, Richard became defensive and accused Alex of not trusting him. When Alex finally refused, Richard's true colors showed. He started spreading malicious lies about Alex and DevStream to our family and business contacts. He told people that Alex's success was built on stolen ideas, that the company was on the verge of bankruptcy, and that Alex was cheating his investors. These lies started affecting our business relationships. 3 potential clients pulled out of deals after hearing these rumors. The situation has become even more complicated now that I'm pregnant. We hadn't told anyone except our closest friends because I had a miscarriage last year and wanted to be cautious this time. However, Richard somehow found out through a family friend. Instead of congratulating us, he's using this information to pressure Alex for money, claiming he needs to move closer to us to be part of his grandchild's life. Last week, Richard crossed a line that can't be uncrossed. We had a meeting with a major client, a deal we've been working on for months that would have significantly expanded our business. Richard showed up at the meeting completely drunk, causing a scene in the lobby. He started shouting about how Alex abandoned him when he was sick and needed help. The client immediately pulled out of the deal, causing us to lose a contract worth over $500,000. We've decided to cut all contact with Richard and are considering legal action to protect ourselves and our business. I've blocked him on all platforms, and Alex has informed his remaining family members about the situation. The stress isn't good for my pregnancy, but I know we're making the right decision. Alex needs to break free from this toxic cycle of manipulation, especially now that we're going to have a child of our own. Update 1: It's been a month since my last post, and I want to thank everyone for their support and advice. The situation with Richard has grown more complex, and several revelations have come to light. After we cut contact, Richard's behavior became increasingly erratic. He started showing up randomly at our house and Alex's office, usually during odd hours. One time, our neighbor caught him going through our mailbox at 5 a.m. We had to hire security for the office and install a comprehensive camera system at our house. Last week, Richard's current wife Laura, 48F, reached out to me through a mutual friend. She wanted to meet privately at a cafe near our house. I was hesitant but agreed after discussing it with Alex. What Laura revealed during our meeting changed our entire understanding of the situation. According to Laura, Richard's behavior wasn't just about money. He had a severe gambling addiction that had spiraled out of control over the past decade. She told me about how they lost their house in California 5 years ago due to his gambling debts. They had to move to a smaller city where nobody knew them. Richard kept promising to get help, but instead, he got better at hiding his addiction. Laura also revealed something that shocked us. Richard had other children from previous relationships. Besides Alex, there were 2 others, Michael, 27M, and Sophia, 25F. We had no idea they existed. Laura found out about them when she discovered old child support documents while looking for evidence of Richard's gambling. After some online research, we managed to contact Michael and Sophia. Michael works as an architect in Chicago, and Sophia runs a small bakery in Portland. Their stories were disturbingly similar to Alex's. Richard had abandoned them when they were young, only to reappear years later when they became financially stable. He had tried to exploit them both, asking Michael for money to invest in property and attempting to convince Sophia to take out a business loan for him. The similarities in Richard's pattern of behavior were striking. He had used the same tactics with all his children: emotional manipulation, guilt-tripping, and elaborate stories about needing money for medical treatments or business opportunities. Both Michael and Sophia had already cut ties with him years ago. Richard's attempts to sabotage our business have escalated. Last week, he created multiple fake social media accounts pretending to be Alex. He started contacting our clients, trying to scam them with fake investment opportunities. While most clients verified with us first, some smaller businesses fell for his scam. We've had to spend countless hours doing damage control. The financial impact on DevStream has been significant. We've lost several smaller clients, though most major ones have stayed after learning the truth. Our lawyer advised us to document everything for potential legal action. The folder of evidence keeps growing: screenshots of his fake accounts, security camera footage of him lurking around our property, emails he sent to our clients. Laura provided us with more disturbing information about Richard's recent activities. He had taken out loans in her name without her knowledge, maxing out credit cards she didn't even know existed. She discovered this when debt collectors started calling their house. The total amount he had borrowed under her name was close to $100,000. She also told us about Richard's failed business ventures over the years, a string of get-rich-quick schemes that never materialized. There was a failed restaurant, an attempt at flipping houses during the 2008 financial crisis, and most recently, a cryptocurrency investment that turned out to be a Ponzi scheme. Each failure pushed him deeper into gambling, creating a vicious cycle. The stress of the situation has been affecting my pregnancy. I've been experiencing heightened blood pressure, and my doctor has advised complete bed rest. Alex has been handling most of the business issues, stepping up in ways that make me fall in love with him all over again. He's also been attending expectant father classes and preparing for the baby, determined not to let Richard's drama overshadow this special time in our lives. Michael and Sophia have been incredibly supportive since we connected. They've shared their experiences and strategies for dealing with Richard's manipulation. We've started having weekly video calls, forming a support system none of us had before. It's bittersweet seeing Alex bond with his half-siblings under these circumstances, but their shared experiences have created a strong connection. Update 2. 3 months have passed since my last update, and the situation has taken several unexpected turns. First, I want to thank this community for all the support and advice. It's helped us navigate some really difficult decisions. The most significant development happened 3 weeks ago. Richard tried to break into our house at 2 a.m. while we were sleeping. Our security system alerted us and the police immediately. They caught him attempting to force open our back door with a crowbar. He was clearly drunk and had some gambling slips in his pocket. The police arrested him, and he spent the night in jail. This incident led to some revelations about Richard's recent activities. The police found various documents in his car, including detailed information about our daily routines, screenshots of our business contacts, and, most disturbingly, ultrasound pictures of our baby that he had somehow obtained from my hospital records. We still don't know how he got access to those. The morning after his arrest, Laura called Alex in tears. She had discovered that Richard had emptied their joint bank account and taken loans against their car. She was facing eviction from their apartment. While sorting through their paperwork, she found evidence that Richard had been planning to scam more people using Alex's company name. He had created fake business cards and company letterheads. Laura also revealed that Richard had been lying about her diabetes. She never had any medical issues, it was just another one of his schemes to get money from Alex. She's filed for divorce and has been cooperating with our lawyer, providing evidence of Richard's fraudulent activities. Through all this, we've grown closer to Michael and Sophia. They flew in to support us during the legal proceedings. Michael, being an architect, helped us redesign our home security system, adding features we hadn't thought of. Sophia, who runs a bakery, has been sending us care packages and checking in regularly. It's amazing how this terrible situation has led to forming these meaningful family connections. After spending a night in jail, Richard sent a letter through his lawyer. He claimed he wanted to make amends and blamed his behavior on his gambling addiction. He offered to attend rehabilitation if we dropped the charges. The letter was full of the same manipulative language he'd always used, bringing up Alex's childhood, talking about wanting to be a grandfather and promising to change. The decision whether to press charges was difficult for Alex. Despite everything, he struggled with the idea of his father having a criminal record. We spent several nights discussing it, weighing all the options. Michael and Sophia shared their perspectives too. They had both been through similar situations with Richard making promises to change. Update 3. Our son Nathan was born 2 weeks ago, healthy and beautiful despite all the stress during the pregnancy. The timing worked out perfectly as the legal proceedings against Richard concluded just days before I went into labor. Richard was found guilty of attempted breaking and entering, harassment, and several counts of fraud related to the fake business documents. He received 3 years of probation, mandatory counseling, and strict orders to stay away from us and our business. The judge was particularly stern after seeing the evidence of his long-term harassment and manipulation. The business has slowly been recovering. Several clients who had pulled out after Richard's interference have returned after learning the full story. Alex's transparency about the situation actually helped build stronger relationships with our business partners. DevStream is now working on its largest project to date, developing software for a major healthcare provider. Laura's divorce from Richard was finalized last month. She's moved to Seattle to be closer to her sister and is starting fresh. She still keeps in touch, mainly to warn us if she hears anything about Richard's whereabouts through mutual acquaintances. Michael and Sophia have become regular parts of our lives. They were both at the hospital when Nathan was born, and seeing them with him brings tears to my eyes. Michael is already planning to teach Nathan architecture when he's older, and Sophia sends us weekly care packages from her bakery. This newfound family connection has been the unexpected silver lining in all this chaos. We heard through Laura's sister that Richard has moved to Florida. While this gives us some peace of mind, we're maintaining all our security measures. The experience has taught us not to let our guard down. Alex is an amazing father to Nathan. Every time I see him with our son, I'm struck by how determined he is to break the cycle of abandonment and manipulation that marked his own childhood. We're focused on creating new, positive family memories and building the kind of support system that Alex never had growing up. The last time we heard anything about Richard was through a distant relative who mentioned he's trying to start a new business in Florida. We've warned our extended family about his schemes, and most have chosen to distance themselves from him. Life feels calmer now, and we're enjoying these precious early days with Nathan, surrounded by the loving family we've chosen.